And now it is my great honor and privilege to introduce our speaker for the 102nd Commencement exercises of Divine Word College. Very Reverend Paul Papakahan, SVD, is originally from Indonesia, where he entered the SVD novitiate and studied philosophy at the seminary in Ledaledo. After ESL studies here at Divine Word College, Father Kahan proceeded to Catholic Theological Union in Chicago, earning a Master of Divinities degree in theology and missiology in 1998. Father Kahan was ordained an SVD priest in 1999 and served for some 15 years as pastor of several intercultural parishes in Houston, Fort Worth, and Cleveland, Texas. Recognized by his SVD confreres for his pastoral and administrative skills, Father Kahan was elected first as vice provincial and now currently provincial of the SVD United States Southern Province. Something special about our commencement speaker is that he was elected as a delegate to the SVD General Chapter in 2012 in Rome. Both Father Bang Chan and myself were also present at that chapter and invited Father Kahan to try some Italian gelato. He had never tried gelato. So we convinced him to come down to the village and to try gelato, and let's just say that he really, really likes it. You can ask him in private what he actually said. So I introduce to you Father Kahan.
Father Kwong, Father Tom Ashman, Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, students, guests, family and friends, my brother SVDs, and of course, today's graduates. I am a parish priest. So if this commencement sounds more like a sermon, that's why. Or you can blame Father Tom Ashman for this. When Father Tom asked me last November to give the commencement for this year graduation, I said, well, my brother, do you have anybody else in mind? And I was hoping and praying that he would say, yes, of course, Paul, don't worry about it. No problem. Or at least pretended to go over a list of candidates. Instead, he said, think of it as one of your Sunday sermons. But make sure it's short. I'm sure with a big smile on his face. So here I am, graduates, standing before you, humble and honored. Your hard work for the last 4 years or more, hours of reading, minute paper, late night runs for noodles and rice have finally led you to this day, a marvelous occasion of your accomplishment. Congratulations, graduates. We are really, truly and really proud of you. When I was at St. Rita Parish in Fort Worth, Texas, a family gave me a Christmas voucher for a 6-week pottery class at the local pottery studio owned by one of our parishioners, Hart Street Pottery, to help me relax, they said. Playing racquetball was not enough. And I've seen the movie Ghost. I was excited. Unfortunately, I soon discovered it was not as relaxing and romantic as in the movie. There was no Demi Moore. There was no unchanged melody playing in the background. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't manage to work on the clay and the wheel. I got more and more frustrated by the week. At the end of the third class, I left my shaped clay and told Janet, owner of the studio, I'm sorry, dear, I quit. It's too stressful. I'm not coming back, I'm done. A couple of months later, Janet came to the office carrying the box of my half-done cups and bowls, which were already beautifully finished and colored by her. Among them was this. I could hardly recognize it. It was my unfinished bowl, the reason I left the class. She had turned what I thought a failure into a beautiful piece of art. I came to the US in '92 and studied English here in this fine college before I went on to the theology and CTU in Chicago. Father Jim was the provincial at that time, and I have a few of my formators and good friends here with us this morning. I still remember Father Bill Shea patiently took his time to help Christopher and me reading and saying our evening prayers every day in the small chapel on the second floor. I admire this college, both for its excellence in education and for its personal attention and commitment to the spiritual life of the students. After one of my Sunday masses, a gentleman approached me. You are an SPD, Father? I said, yes, I am. I studied in Epworth, he said, proceeding to introduce his wife and his children, and started telling me stories of his time in Epworth. He was so happy and proud. Of course, he then followed it up by inviting me for dinner at his home. A standing invitation for a home-cooked pho and boiled crawfish. Thank you, Epworth. Graduates, you are no longer the same person you were when you first stepped foot in this holy place. You have been enriched with great education and plenty of meaningful activities. Your faith has been gradually molded and matured. The memory and friendship you have established here will stay with you long after you leave Epworth. So as we send you forth as witnesses and messengers of the word, as you move on to the next stage of your life, either as lay missionaries and leaders in your parish, religious or SPD candidates, allow me to share with you a few life lessons from my failed attempts at pottery. First, as Father Adam said so powerfully in his homily this morning, please continue to invite God to be part of your daily life. If Janet could transform what seemed to be a failure, what seemed to be a disaster, into something wonderful, just think of how much more the Almighty and the All-Powerful and the All-Loving God would do for us. Yet, oh Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay and you are the potter. And we are all the work of your hands. Isaiah the prophet declared a long time ago, giving us hope and light. To his disappointed audience on the opening day of the half-renovated First SVD Mission House, St. Arnold Johnson said, "The simplicity of this beginning should not discourage us. The mightiest tree starts as a single seed, and the strongest of giants was once a weak, whimpering baby. We know that with our present resources, we cannot accomplish our task. But we hope that good God will provide everything we need, and He may do to us what He wills. If the seminary succeeds, we will thank the grace of God. If nothing comes of it, we will humbly strike our breast and confess that we are not worthy of such grace." Fast forward to 2018, 143 years later, we are here with you, graduates, celebrating your graduation. With God, all things are possible. Jesus says in Matthew 19:26, with God, all things are possible. Don't underestimate the power of your witness. When Pope Francis approached the disfigured man, warmly embraced and kissed him, the world took notice. An Albanian nun left her convent and her teaching job to care for the poorest of the poor on the street of Calcutta. When she was canonized in 2016, thousands of Catholics and pilgrims from all around the world attended the celebration to honor her life and her work. We are entrusted with a series of great opportunity daily to make a positive impact in our community, in our church, in our world, on those we encounter. Steve Goodman, returning home to Chicago after visiting his wife's family in New Orleans, wrote about his experience of riding the train, Illinois Central. He then sang it to our Logatri. Arlo liked the song and recorded it. It became a huge hit. Willie Nelson picked it up and made it a country song and won the Grammy. I just love the song. And yes, I do know who Willie Nelson and Alogatri are. We don't need to do much to inspire change, graduates, to make a difference. Sometimes all it takes is just a simple act of caring, of openness and welcoming, especially to the poor, neglected, and those considered the outsiders due to their gender, sexual orientation, religion, country of origin, cultural background, of having the courage to speak the truth despite the risk, of standing up against ignorance, bias, prejudice, injustice, and violence towards certain minority groups because of their skin color. Prophetic dialogue is commonly known in the Escaldes family. I heard a quote once by Maya Angelou: "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." Second, be accountable. What we bring to the table, graduates, how we view what we do, the way we approach the responsibility given to us matters. We cannot put a price tag on integrity. Practice what you preach, Padre, a parishioner told me once, jokingly. To assign blame, to bail when things become too hard, to give up at the first sign of trouble, to complain, to have a fit when things don't go our way is easy. But to take ownership of our actions, to embrace the consequences of our decision, that's the challenge. It is safe to say that graduating from Epworth, from this wonderful college, means that you have a solid foundation, graduates. Yet this foundation will only be as strong as your desire to continually keeping it up with the times, to constantly build upon what you have learned here, to make it relevant in your ministry and chosen profession. Our partners in ministry, our staff, our colleagues, our parishioners, at least the ones I've had the privilege of working with and serving, are devoted, confident, educated professionals and highly trained in their field. And we owe it to them and to ourselves as ministers and professionals to provide them with the best care they deserve. Being a foreign-born missionary working in the southern province, I'm well aware of the importance and the need to get to know the community I minister, which includes learning to speak the language well. In this case, English. If English is not your first language, graduates, and you're planning to work or minister here in this country, I would like to invite you as well to keep working on our English proficiency. The effectiveness of our ministry also rests on our ability to listen, to understand, and to communicate well in the language of the people we profess to serve. Trust me, graduates, our charming personality can only go so far.